The question, why do students achieve so much with one teacher and so little under the guidance of another teacher, is often asked. I believe, as a result of having done research in this area for some time, developing good classroom management is a determining factor. Respect is paramount. Students need to feel respected and in turn need to develop respect for the teacher. I've spoken to kids who delight in mucking up in class, and I've talked to their teachers. A common non-verbal cue they both tend to give is rolling their eyes. Oh, that class, the teacher recoils. Oh him. The student groans. What's clear here is a lack of respect. And don't start to think as a teacher you'll be able to fake it. Students are quick to smell a rat. Teachers who are not able to respect their students are in the wrong game.
I'd like to begin today by welcoming you all to Physics 101. I apologize if you feel the lecture theatre is overcrowded today. By looking at the person sitting on your left and then at the person seated on your right, I can offer you some reassurance. By the end of this term, only a third of you will still be here. Yes, the dropout rate is high and only the most perseverant of you will remain. Please don't let my honesty dissuade you. Those of you who do remain with me to the bitter end, I assure you, will have some fun along the way.
When you think about what characterizes a good assessment task, the question you really need to ask yourself is what characterizes good teaching. Good teaching should enable students to show just what they are capable of. In so doing, it must be motivating, interesting to the students, and it should be inclusive to all. Equally, a good assessment needs to be clear and unambiguous and as interesting as possible for the range of people for whom the task is designed. It needs also to be inclusive, well, here I mean, so that the test takers are able to give a good representation of their true ability. Use this question to keep going back to it, to keep, checking that the questions you are asking actually make sense and mean something to you, and to the students themselves.
The exam, which is next Friday, is made up of 4 sections, which I think I've mentioned a couple of times already in this course. Okay. So there are 20 multiple choice questions, 10 short answer questions, an extended response task. You choose one topic from 4 possibilities, and finally a practical task. For each of the first 3 sections I'm allocating 60 minutes. You then hand in your paper, move to the lab and begin the practical task. I'm allowing a 10-minute break before you start getting underway with the practical task. I've allocated just 30 minutes to this.
As of the year 2011, heart disease was the #1 killer of Americans. It was projected that more than 40% of adults in the United States would be diagnosed with cardiovascular disease by the year 2030. This proportion translates to more than $1 trillion in medical costs. In addition, Medicare would be responsible for covering more than half of those expenses. Therefore, advocates such as AARP say one way that aging Americans can help to reduce our federal government's budget deficit is to exercise. Regular aerobic exercise strengthens the heart muscle, improves blood circulation, and helps us lose weight. These results can lower our nation's medical expenditures by reducing the incidence of cardiovascular disease.
In the coastal region of the state of North Carolina, the waves of the Atlantic Ocean lap the shoreline from the border with Virginia to those of South Carolina. With forts, museums, and lighthouses prominent to the area, there is much to see and do. Many people revisit the Outer Banks year after year, taking time to check out the activities at Jockey's Ridge, Kitty Hawk, and the drama, The Lost Colony. Youngsters of all ages enjoy the ferry rides that are provided from island to island. Some of the many specific areas to consider when visiting the coastal region of North Carolina are presented in this section.
An agreement among top painters of portraits is that a person's likeness is dependent on the proportional relationships between facial features, not the specific shape of the nose, mouth, ears, or eyes. That is, the location of the eyes is more important than the color or shape of the eyes. The proof of this assumption can be found when you compare pictures of someone at different times of his or her life. He or she may have lost hair, gained more wrinkles around the eyes, added a second chin, or started wearing glasses, but you will still recognize him or her as being the same person. This is because the proportions have remained largely unchanged. Although every portrait painter might agree on the general concept, they differ on how to put it into practice. Some advise their students to use straight lines to establish the level of the eyebrows, nose, chin, ears, neck, and shoulders. Others insist the best approach is to draw or paint the large shapes that correspond to the structure of the skull.
In any job interview, it's important to use your best manners, and telephone interviews are no exception. Besides your CV, this is their first impression of you. Make it a great one by being super polite and professional. Here's how. Set up your space for quiet. Nothing says, "I don't care about this phone interview" more than having it in a noisy space, where you are constantly distracted. It's better to put off the call until a later time, rather than trying to talk over interruptions. Make sure you have a quiet space to talk, with no distractions. Address the interviewer by name. Make sure you know the name of your interviewer before you speak to them. Even if you have to call and find out from someone else ahead of time, it's much nicer to be able to say, "Hi, Mr. Smith," if you can. Don't interrupt. No matter how excited you are about the job, it's rude to interrupt while someone else is speaking. Don't put them on speakerphone. Speakerphones detract from the sound quality of the conversation, and they convey the impression that you really have something more important that you need to be doing right now, so you're going to do that while you talk.
The Library of Congress is located on Capitol Hill, in southeast Washington, D.C. It comprises 3 buildings that are adjacent to each other: the Thomas Jefferson Building, the James Madison, and the John Adams Building. The Capitol South Metro Station on the Orange Line is across the street from the C Street entrance of the Madison Building. The Union Station Metro Station on the Red Line is a 15 minutes walk from the Independence Avenue entrance of the Madison Building. The meeting will be held at the Library of Congress, James Madison Building, in Montpelier Room on the 6th floor. If you are taking public transportation, Capitol South is the closest metro stop, or it's about a 15-minute walk from the Union Station Metro. No on-site parking is available for visitors. If you come by metro, you can enter at the corner of 1st and C Streets. There is a metal detector and security checkpoint there. After you enter the building, take the yellow elevators to the 6th floor, proceed to your right. Montpelier Room will be directly ahead.
People most of the time do not think that there is any difference between bibliography and references. They often mistake the two to be the same. However, they are different, and used in different contexts, with each essay, or article, or book. Bibliography is listing all the materials that have been consulted while writing an essay, or a book. References, on the other hand, are those that have been referenced in your article, or book. You might have consulted a lot of books, essays, and websites for writing something. Though you might have referred to these while preparing a write-up, the content of these might not have been included in the actual text. This is what refers to bibliography. References are those that are directly included in your actual text. While references are cited directly in the text, bibliography is not cited directly in the text. While references can be used to support your statement or argument, a bibliography does not have such roles. As such, references are used for establishing something in a more authoritative way. Readers could refer your references and evaluate the correctness of your statement. Meanwhile, bibliography does not support your argument, but you only refer them in a personal way.